today, in this video, I'm going to talk about the order of the way I planted things and what tiers, and show you how to put a plant inside the tube afterwards. So, with tower gardening, the suggested way to do it is to put the tall plants go taller up here. The smaller plants here, medium-sized plants here in this area. You've got the, or you can use this one, if you're going to do a lot, you can put mediums here and here. Otherwise, you can put the bulky ones here. So bulky, like broccoli. And then more of the vining ones down here. So the tomato plants, cucumbers, squash, all down here. And we actually have grown tomato plants in the tower garden before very successfully, and cucumbers. Not indoors, we only had a greenhouse. Their tomato plants are messy. I wouldn't suggest growing those indoors necessarily, although people do. The reason why you want to grow it in those orders as much as you can is simply this: sunlight. If you have tall plants planted here, they're going to grow up and cover up the plants and make it harder for the small plants to get light if you've got the tall ones going up here. And that's the big reason why you plant in that order. I have a little chart, and I'll have it linked to the bottom of this video, that reviews what plants go where. Now, that's in a perfect world, because you may have bought 2 bulky plants, 1 vining plant, and a whole bunch of medium-sized plants, for example. So do the best you can, and then just stick them wherever else there's an empty port. What we found between planting in the dirt is that because they didn't get shocked, because they didn't get dirt all rinsed out of the roots, and then shoved into a neti pot, and shoved into water, which you're not used to, they thrived a lot better in this first week. I will tell you that tower garden plants grow marvelously, because we've done it before. It takes a while for the shock to wear off. This time what I did, because I'm going to plant a couple of ports here to show you how to do it with the net pots, is after I rinse the roots off, I put them in about that much water and 2 tablespoons of B1. You can buy B1 at any nursery, but B1 helps them with shock. So we're testing that now to see how this will work with these 2 guys. Now this is a mustard plant. Technically the mustard plant should be up high because it's a tall plant, but again, such as life, I'm going to put it down here because they'll have enough room to grow up to this place. Oh, by the way, we do put sunflowers into both of the tower gardens because it helps keep pests away. Some of them don't like to smell these things. This is a marigold, but there are others that you can use. So the first thing that I am doing is planting. I take the net pot and you wrap it inside the grow medium. What I'm using here right now is rock wool. We're going to do a different video about the different mediums. And rock wool ends up not being such a good thing anymore. And we'll go into that more. It's just that this is what we had. So I don't like to waste things either. But we'll talk more about that in a future video. What you have to do is after you wrap the medium around here to help support the plant, because otherwise if you just shoved it in and you're flopping all over, so you have to try to get the roots down. So I use a toothpick. You also need to put it, there's a flat part of the net pot and then a round part. The flat part is the part that clicks down inside there. So you want to pull the roots out on the flat part because that is where all the water is flowing down. The medium does get wet, and that helps for the 15 minutes when it's turned off. It keeps it wet and moist, and it helps protect it in the heat and continuing to grow. So you can see I've got the little roots pulled out there. So I'm going to pop it in here. You have to be careful because you don't want to shove it in here and then break the roots off. So when you go in, you want to go at an angle so you don't hurt the roots. And then you push it in and you hear a click. The next one I'm going to plant is a spinach plant. Now, you can see that this baby has a whole lot of roots. What I do doing that is on these net pots, I put big holes in them because there is no way I can use my trusty little toothpick to get that root through there enough. And it makes it happier when it has more roots out and about. So I just am going to drop it down there before I put the medium in as far as I can. Gently pull it out. Some of the roots will stay up in the net pot, but again, because it's got this here, it'll work. And sometimes you have to break, you can just break these little rock wool things or whatever medium you're using in half so you can move it around easier. And that's what I've done here. And you want to try to cover up as much of the roots as possible, so it helps protect it from the heat. There we go. And so I am going to now carefully push the roots all in, and then flat side against power garden, pop it in. Now I have leftover B1. Cool, super good, healthy stuff. I don't want to waste it. So we've got some earth boxes with a pepper plant going on over here. So I'm just going to share some B1. B1 helps de-stress plants. Now, finally, I've got another spinach plant. Oh, by the way, I saved the little tags so I can say what they are and you'll be able to remember what plant you're going where. Unless you remember these things. I don't, so I like the tags. Over here, I left, oh, one more thing. What you want to do when you're planting here is make sure you don't plant a vine or anything over top, that'll be bulky or anything over where you fill the water up. You want to be able to easily access it, the water, because otherwise you're going to be beating up the plants. So here's the dirt one. You pop it out. You mash it up a little bit, like any plant you're going to be growing. Take off the little bit dead leaves, and then I'm just going to dig this out a little bit and plop it in. So I'm not going to allow you to watch me doing this whole thing. It's just like planting anything. Originally, when you're first setting up the GreenStalk, you put the plants in before you stack them. That is, I think, wraps up everything about how to plant things. So, seasons. You plant things based on seasons, even with these tower gardens, or vertical gardens, unless you're going to be planting inside. If you're planting inside, you can plant anything, anytime, because you have lighting. I will put a list down at the bottom of what plants to plant when, and it's a good thing when you go to Home Depot and Lowe's, you can actually take that with you, because I ended up buying 3 tomato plants, not thinking about this is not the season to be growing tomatoes. So what I'm going to spend my time doing is protecting them when it gets too cold, and hopefully they'll live so that when it gets warm again, they'll start producing fruit. But they were there, so I didn't think about it, I bought them. Dummy me. All right, thank you for joining us, and we hope this is helping you. Take care.